introducing young readers to the beauty of our city. The author and illustrator of children's books, The ABCs in Indianapolis and the 1, 2, 3s in Indianapolis, share what inspired their work and how they hope to connect learning and exploration for parents and kids through reading.
I knew people had pride in their neighborhoods, but in writing this book and in reaching out to people to say, hey, if I'm going to do Woodruff Place, for example, what should I feature? Or, hey, if we're going to do something over on this part of town, what should we feature? The stories and the pride that people shared with me was really exciting to see. So the genesis of these two books is I have two young daughters at home. My parents always read to me from the time I was very young, and I've always appreciated the craft and have just been interested in children's books. And so as I looked at my daughter's bookshelves, I saw lots of books about Indiana and Indianapolis, but none of them really got off the beaten path into quirky places all around the city. They focused on more the touristy areas. And I said, you know what, I'd love to write a book that goes behind the scenes and shows people places in Indianapolis that they might not be able to see every day.
It was a very fun project because I've lived in Indianapolis for almost 20 years, and I love this city so much. And yeah, when Marty first hit me up about this book, it was almost a no-brainer. So it was one of those projects where, yeah, I signed up for it, and I knew that it was going to be a fun project. I think the challenge of being an artist is how do I tread the balance of like what it looks good to me and what looks good to other people. So I tried my best to stick with my guns and like, you know what, I'm just gonna see this through my own eyes, with of course collaborating with Marty at the same time to get his feedback. Throughout the process of making this book, I found myself actually going to some of these places. I went to Long's Donuts, went to the Children's Museum, man, Mass Ave, of course. I mean, that's a usual place to go, but there's something about going there and experiencing it once again for the sake of creating something for these books.
What to me has been some of the most flattering feedback that we've gotten from readers and their parents, and that is when people, whether it's through social media or just seeing me out and about in the city, they'll say, hey, we grabbed your book, we hopped in our minivan, and we drove around letter by letter, or we drove around number by number. And then they'll say, hey, we drove all the way to the far east side to go see the site, or we drove to the west side over to Riverside Park. And just seeing the excitement of parents and their kids exploring the city together, that's the purpose of the book, and that's some of the best feedback that we've gotten since we published these books over the last couple of years. We spent a lot of time up front really curating the sites and really making sure that they represented our whole city. So if you look, there's a map in the back of each book that shows where all the sites are located, and we really took a lot of pride in making sure that the south side was represented, the west side, east side, north side, and lots of sites downtown. And so I think we did a pretty good job of covering, as our goal was, every nook and cranny of the city.
It goes back to me seeing it with a brand new set of eyes, really. Seeing the beauty of this city through its people, really. You go to these places and you meet world-class people, which makes this city world-class.